James Burton licks. It was actually, Uncle George was George Harrison from the Beatles, and our babysitter was Mama Cass Elliot from the Mamas and Papas. We were hungry for years. What? We learned how to hide our Happy Meals, I'll tell you. She was really, really cool. She was kind of the epicenter of everything that was going on at the time. There was a little nightclub back then called the Troubadour Club. And this was at a time in our dad's career when everybody considered him pretty much over. He reinvented himself with the help of a lot of his friends who were hanging out at the house. Well, I guess because they felt that they owed our father a debt of gratitude. A lot of people that we talk to nowadays actually started playing because they watched Ricky Nelson on TV. So it's kind of cool how the circle kind of comes around. And it turned out that Dylan was hanging out at the house because, as Gunnar said, if you look at his autobiography, I think it's on page 14, there's this whole thing about how we used to watch our dad on television, listen to him on the radio, and he was a real influence. And at that time, things had turned around, and our dad, 10 years before that, was the biggest star in the world with Elvis, and then he was kind of considered by the kids to be washed up and done, and it was Dylan that actually turned to him one day at the house and said, Rick, I'm going to talk to you like nobody else will, because everybody's afraid to talk with the elephant in the middle of the room here, The world figures you're done, you're a has-been, you're washed up, so why don't you do something that screws them up? He said, well, Bob, it's always nice having you over at the house, thank you. What do you have in mind? He said, well, where it's at now is people writing their songs. You have to write your own songs, and why don't you try it? See if you've got a knack for it. What do you have to lose? And he was right on that, because, when he started out, our dad was a great chooser of material, as was Elvis. Elvis actually never went on to write a song, but our dad took up the challenge and decided to do something completely different. And he put together something called the Stone Canyon Band, which was one of the first ever country rock bands. And it came right out of the little yeah. And that's what my brother and I grew up with. It was these amazing musicians in our dad's pool house, James Burton was replaced by a guy named Tom Brumley on steel guitar. Tom was an original Buck Owens Buckaroo, so it was that Bakersfield thing, and our dad was like the guy that turned up the guitars a little bit. He brought a Marshall amplifier in there with a steel guitar, and it really was a whole new sound, and he really kind of, I think, changed people's minds. It culminated later with a song called Garden Party, which we'll get to, but that's what Gunnar and I kind of came up with, was, the Stone Canyon Band kind of worked its way into our sound, and we actually wanted to go to another clip here for a second that lets you know some of our dad's other